think that's too long. Maybe 6 to 12 minutes?
24 minutes. That's it. Is someone checking now? Yes.
And
So
then maybe after the 6 to
24
12 minutes on
minutes.
this, we could get into like the values discussion.
Oh, Solana Buddha session. Someone else is organized. What do you mean? You can't call it what do you mean? Okay. Someone else distorted the arrangement. I don't know who distorted this arrangement, but someone just, you know,
What's going on? Martins?
so,
Hey, Martins, what's going on? So I was talking about
yeah.
maybe doing the
I,
second
I
topic could
want
be on the
I want
values
to link the
discussion.
notes. I was trying to link the notes
You're trying to
so
what?
we can proceed. I was trying to link the notes.
Link the notes. All right. So I was saying 6 to 12 minutes here.
Okay, 6 to 12 minutes. So is that okay? Do we have agreement for topic one
I think we should do topic 1 and topic 2.
together? Okay.
Yeah, well, let's do
No.
topic 1 for 6 to 12 minutes, and then we go on topic 2, and then we can reconsider.
Okay. So let me. So if you have agreement for that too, I have agreement, and I do not have any objection against it. So let's topic one and topic two.
No, topic 1 and topic 2 are going to be separate topics. I don't know why you're putting them in the same tab.
Okay. Separate. Okay.
So are you ready for topic 1?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay, do you have anything to add, or should I just go?
Well, let me start. It's definitely going to be an open discussion. This is my first time. I want to start with an intro. This is my first time of knowing, getting to know that there is a net benefit, though I've heard about it, but in terms of experiencing which of the worker will be needing it. Now, what I know of it is that it's a way to assist worker whenever they have issues with their health in a little way the organization can assist, not entirely taking the responsibility so long they are not placed on insurance, health insurance. So as a result of that, I know the organization is in dire need of money. We even need sponsors, we need investors rather, and I'm not sure if we have that amount of money available in place. But as part of the options, I think we can explore. We can look at, if possible, what are tokens value worth, and as well as joining with a payroll, bonus payroll to get her paid, and by the time we do that, we'll be having like up to $80 from the worth of value of what she has invested in the organization all this while. That is if she has not in any way.
Okay, so remember we only have 6 to 12 minutes here, but yeah, keep going.
So so check.
You're good?
Yeah.
Okay, so I was gonna start with just making sure it's clear on the criteria, and then we can go into, what would need to be done and some of the options. So as far as the criteria goes, we have, we are required to have a budget, a team budget, right? We're required to get agreement on the proposal, required to have UMCUS agreement if there is a loan, and then that is also required to do policy training and all that for breaking policy. Um, and then there's also maybe other details that need to be done, um, like it would be like a negative health um, account, right? So currently we have $0, right? So because currently we have $0 for co-op 2.0, right? Does that make sense?
Yes.
So as far as like some of the overall issues, obviously, um, issues and options. We don't have a budget. We have major issues getting work done. We don't do the invoice. So we can't even confirm and verify the client work. So we're not really doing much work. Not really doing little to any work. And then the people get very upset when we don't fork over more money when no additional work is made. Also, we have all the past issues with the legal challenges, and we have the current issues with the probation, and we don't have a team or budget. And also need to address core values. So overall, the bottom line is that we don't do all the work, and yet everyone doesn't even seem to understand that we don't do all the work and wants more money. So that's for me where there's a major disconnect, right?
Okay. Yeah.
So it's like, Lucy and now Ateh have spent the last month asking for money instead of doing work again, right? So it's like and Lucy's not even communicating anymore, so I don't know what that is, what that entails and why Lucy's not even communicating. But that's very concerning. But it's like, even if Lucy can't communicate and she's not involved, it's like, what it says, Jez is done with all the questions and to come back. It's like, so what do we do about all of that? Like, the organization still needs to move forward, and the fact that Ateh and Lucy have been so against recruitment and everybody has refused recruitment, we are now in two very, very difficult positions. One position is that we didn't do the recruitment when we should have, and so now we didn't train any new workers, and then now Ateh and Lucy are gone, and you're not doing much work, and obviously not doing any client work, but it's just like, that's it, so it's just like no one seems to think about the organization, and no one seems to think beyond, is able to, or capable of thinking beyond their own needs, and that just hurts everybody, because all of us get screwed because we have no recruitment, we have no one trained, no one's doing any work, and it could take months and months and months to get back up to running and get functional, and then it's like I could just be doing work on my own, and no one even helps me with the RTBA or any of the work. It's just really weird, you know, because I'm working like 60, 80-hour weeks and doing lots and lots of work on all the assets and all the client work and everything. I just do it by myself because no one helps with it.
Okay.
So I'm not gonna wait for people anymore. You know, it's just like I just do the best that I can. So I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know exactly what else to do in this situation, but we obviously need to do much, much more recruitment and training and collaboration as a team and an organization to even get to the most basic level where we're even able to comfortably do loans or health agreements or whatever. But I mean, obviously, we can bring this to the HR board and we can do it and just vote on it. So the proposal is pretty simple. Proposal um, to pay Ateh $400 for a health reimbursement based on situation.
Yes. Require receipt. Yes.
I guess the
Require
only other,
transfer.
or agreement to take the funds from our internal operations, right? So
Yeah.
required. But the hardest part of all is I can sit here and I can list everything that needs to get done, and no one's gonna do it. Like I sit here day after day after day listing all the work that needs to get done, and nobody does the work. So it's just like,
Hmm.
does it really help to list it? Did I mention that G's needs to? What is tab 5?
That's pay and budget.
Okay, but they can't do that on their own. Why don't we go over there and help them?
Okay, let's go. But Ate says she's coming right away.
Okay, we'll tell her that we need to take care of Jez, and that she needs to wait.
Okay. Okay, let me tell her to wait.
No, don't tell her to wait. I can communicate with Ateh while you're finishing with Jez. That's okay too.
Yes. Okay, let me go over to
Yeah, I'll go with you.
um
And then if Ateh comes here, then I'll be here with Ateh. Okay.
okay, no problem. Good.
Live streaming is on.
Hello. Hello.
Hello,
How are you, Jasmine?
I'm good. I'm here at the topic 5,
Cool.
but I don't know exactly what should I do here.
For topic 4, did you have any more questions on anything?
Uh, I have no questions at all yet.
Okay, so topic 5 would just be getting a temporary hire proposal together. So
Yes.
what is your, do you have your POP set up?
Sure, can you repeat it again?
Do you have your POP?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So we can link that, but the first thing would be your agreement that we do fixed rate contracts for completed
Yes, sir.
deliverables.
deliverables.
So I'm gonna go ahead and get the link
So I'm going to go ahead and get the link
or get the information for.
or get the information.
We seem to be having a.
We seem to be having a
Martins,
link
is that
forwards.
you? So Martins, if you can mute when you're
So Martins,
talking,
if you can
'cause
mute when
echoing.
you're echoing.
Yeah, it's not me. It's from Jasmine.
So Jasmine, maybe there's 2 versions or something.
Okay. Is it me?
I don't know. It seems to have gone away.
Is it
Anyway, so I was going to make sure that we have the links and information for all of the criteria. So here's some of the criteria on line 36. Right. So the agreement that we do fixed rate contracts and completed deliverables for pay, right? So that's very important. From there, you have your monthly pay goal. So what is your hourly pay goal?
Um, I'll decide, sir, but we agreed on Upwork that I'll do the $12 per hour.
Are you on the HR board?
No,
No, she's the worker. She
I'm
applied
a
as a
worker.
worker.
I don't think there was ever agreement on $12 an hour. Where did you get that?
Can you please check the Upwork contract? I
The
think
Is
it's
it
contract
for
is where
the
everything's going to be fixed rate contracts. So you're going to have a fixed rate contract based on your on the work that you complete. So right now you have up to $12 for your recruitment. So for example, for today, for doing the interview, you get $2,
okay.
right?
I
So even if we don't
understand.
hire you, we're still going to give you the $2 for the interview, right?
Okay, okay.
So for me,
I
the
understand.
main thing here in the contract, it says $600 a month is the budget that's in the contract. So that would
Mm-hmm.
be $5 an hour for
Hello?
$30 for the um,
40
$30
hours per week.
30 hours per week. Yes.
Yes.
So it's $5 per hour for 30 hours per week. All right, I think Ateh is here, so I'm gonna go check in with Ateh. Okay.
okay?
Hi Ateh, can you hear me?
Yes, Jay, I can hear you
Cool.
now. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Do you have the link to the notes?
Yes, I
Cool.
can
So,
do.
as far as the situation goes, topic 1 is on the health benefits. So if you have any questions or anything, we talked about the criteria, we talked about some of the situations and the issues and the options. I mean, overall, anything's possible, but we are in a horrible situation as an organization. We should have done recruitment much, much, much earlier. So waiting 8 months to do recruitment when we needed to have done it immediately was not a good thing. So I mean, I don't know what's gonna happen, but we can certainly try to do whatever needs to be done. But Lucy disappeared. She's not doing anything. So Martins is the only person that's doing anything at all, and he's not doing much.
Yeah.
So we should have recruited other people and trained them before having all the problems. So um, some of the criteria we have is that we would have the team budget. And then, I mean, we have the proposal already. So, I mean, it's pretty simple. It's basically to pay you $400 for reimbursements on the health costs, and it would come out of our health fund. But since our health fund is currently
That's bad.
$0,
What happened? Lucy sick?
no, she just disappeared 2 days ago.
Yeah.
She's not communicating at all. And she was in a session with us, and we were getting in an argument on the core values. So we have a whole core value discussion for topic 2 that we're continuing, which basically, well, we'll go over it in topic 2, but basically the question is whether or not people should get paid the same amount of money for the same amount of work anywhere in the world, or if people should get paid the same amount of time for a different amount of money based on their jurisdiction, right? So in the context of that, I don't know what happened, but she just disappeared in the middle of the issues that we were discussing. Mainly Martins was bringing them up, but then she never, when we asked why she had disappeared during the main session, this was on Thursday, she did not respond, and then she has not responded since. We've sent numerous messages. Oh, it looks like Ateh just disappeared. So yeah.
Live streaming is on.
Sorry.
Okay, Ateh disappeared again, so I don't know what happened, but I'm back. So it's
For
$5 an hour for 30 hours a week is $600 a month, and then the 90% is pretty clear. And then you have the time budget. So what's your time budget is how many hours you want to do 30 hours a week, right?
yes.
So the time budget is the same as your 90% budget. Um,
Please.
so then that brings us to the expectations, which is usually 25%.
Yes.
Should be about
Sure.
$135.
Yes.
So it's definitely kind of high for the first month. I mean, usually people are not doing 30 hours a week immediately right away. So we'll have to see whether that can even fit in the budget in terms of doing $540 because it might be difficult to get you in the budget for 30 hours a week. But we can certainly try.
Yeah, I understand.
So then we should have clarity on the jurisdiction.
So, which city are you? Which city are you?
Philippines.
No, that country, city.
Do we
Which
do we
city?
have a pop?
Do you have your pop?
Yes.
She has not. I don't have her name on the pop. Maybe she needs to put that there.
Yes, I
Oh,
do.
maybe you're back. Okay, I think Ateh might be back.
Okay.
Hello, Ateh. Are you back?
Yes, Jay, I'm back.
Great. Okay.
Hi guys.
I can hear you. So basically the proposal is very simple. The decision is complicated. I mean, right now we can't even get the HR board budget passed. Like, there's no like HR board engagement because of that. And then we basically have all the other issues with the other budgets. And then it's just like we haven't done any work for weeks and weeks and weeks. Like, so I don't think there's any client work happening, and it hasn't happened for a very long time. So I'd love to hear from you and hear your perspective on what you would like to do and see what we can try to figure out. But bottom line, it's all possible. It just takes agreement. So the question is, how do we get agreement from the organization when the organization is not even functional?
Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
I'm sorry, my internet is really poor. I had to relocate to my sister's place, which is closer to the hospital.
About doing my
The internet in her house is not
so Jasmine,
good.
click
So
on what I'm seeing your screen does not show you have clicked on it. You
Okay,
need
let
to
me
click
mute.
on it.
Okay, I muted Martins. So you said that your internet
I
wasn't
don't.
very good and you had to relocate and all this kind of stuff. Okay.
Hey, can you hear? Can you guys hear me?
Yes, perfectly.
Yeah. The situation around her right now is very bad. I really recognize it. I thought with the new workers, at least things would have been easier, but from what I'm hearing right now, it shows that we still have a lot of work to do with the new workers, putting them in order and having a budget. So really, I don't know how my proposal is going to go right now. And for my situation, I really can't help with the new workers because I can't sit down for long. I can't be on call for long. So
Yeah,
I
so
don't really
we're
know what
certainly
to do.
not expecting you to do any work right now. That's perfectly fine. I'm surprised you're even on the call at all. Um, so it's just a matter of trying to figure out, how to move this all forward. You know, I would, I mean, Lucy was doing 90% of the work before, and I would say Martines was doing a tiny bit of work, and then you were doing everything else. But it's like with Lucy gone, just there's nothing moving forward. Like no one's doing anything. And I try to explain it to the new recruits, and I try to even explain it to Martines, and it's just like nothing's really happening. So, um, I'm gonna be traveling here in a few days, and then from there I'll be in Old World, and maybe that can help get things organized with Old World better. But overall, I think that the proposal and the getting at least agreement on something should be possible as like a loan, and it's like a negative health account, and then we can bring in funds later. So the question is just how do we do that? And it's also possible people will vote against it. I mean, I just have no idea, but right now it's like we just don't even have any sessions. So for me, the best bet for any decision making is on the main session, unless we schedule an emergency session. So today is wonderful in concept, but nobody did any outreach. No one coordinated anything. There was no responses. There was no reminders. There was no announcement in regards to any. I mean, this is not a main. This is just a buddy team, right? There's no decision making here. So it's like we can propose whatever we want to, but it all needs to go to a voting form, and it all needs to go to emergency main session or to the main session on Thursday, Friday. So if Martins isn't capable of coordinating, an organizational wide emergency session, it's just waiting until Thursday, Friday. And I don't know who else would be coordinating the emergency main session.
So, I don't know. So the message we just need to send out reminders. Martins, can't you do it?
Martins is not here right now. He's talking with a new recruit and finishing up an interview. So, so I think overall
Oh,
the we can wait for Martins to get back. We can talk to him. But overall, the goal would be to um, do either emergency main session, or we have to do like a voting form and then send it out on the voting form. And so someone would have to do the voting form, right? So the options would be, emergency session, or we would wait until main session Thursday, Friday, or we have to do a voting form and or both. Um, so either way, there's certainly work to do. Obviously, the waiting until the main session is the least amount of work, and then either the voting form or the emergency session would be the next least amount of work. So these would be the options to just move it forward at all. And then in the context of some of the situation that we're in is addressing the budget
mm-hmm.
situation and the actual, like Lucy was saying that you would not want to even be in SFC budget.
Me?
Yeah.
Me?
Yeah.
No, I have no problem. I can be in any budget. There's
Okay.
no problem.
Yeah, well that's what I was telling Lucy, but she didn't seem to agree with me. So my recommendation to Lucy is that you, Lucy, and um, Sandra and
Mm.
Mamoon,
Sandra?
along with Mohid. Mohid is also joining and working with Lucy, would all be in one team together. So that would be a general option in terms of quickly and easily getting a team set up. And then once the team is set up, then you automatically have access to the proposal um, for the benefits. So from there, it's just a matter of getting agreement on it. Obviously, no one likes taking out a loan, but I would certainly not voting any less than like a 5, like an abstention. So there's no reason why it can't pass. But obviously, there's it just depends on how everyone else votes and what questions and issues come up. So anyways, I think it's pretty clear what the options are in terms of moving forward and what needs to be done. It's just the problem is just who's going to do it. I think that's really what it all comes down to, is who's actually going to do the work. And Lucy's very upset that her token proposal was never finalized and done. So the fact that Lucy couldn't even do her token proposal and no one could oversee that is not a good sign. And then we have lots of other issues and stuff too. Anyways, if you want to, we can go to topic 2, but I'm here to answer any questions or what we can do, or if you need to get going or whatever. But obviously, we'll keep you up to date on everything on Discord. Are you there or no? I lost you. Okay.
Live streaming is on.
Okay, Ateh disappeared again, so I'm back.
Okay, good. Okay, good.
Oh, you did find the pop. That is excellent. So
Yes.
we should be able to get the jurisdiction. So jurisdiction is Brazil? No, that's Stephanie.
San Jose.
San Jean. Okay,
Philippines.
Philippines. San Jose. Okay.
Yeah.
So you're looking at over 100%. So basically 100% individual jurisdiction. So that is good to know. And does this time work for you?
Yeah.
Okay. We might have other old world times as well. So, so I think that we are done. So the proposal is clear. If all that looks right to you, then we would actually have to get agreement on that with the team. We're having a lot of problems with all of our communications and decision making, but we will certainly do our best. And if you want to help with that, you're certainly welcome to help. So at this point, you can either just wait.
1, 2, 3.
Yeah,
Exhale.
tomorrow
1, 2,
during
3.
Wait.
my
Pause.
day when I'll
Inhale together.
Wait,
1, 2, 3.
Can you hear me?
Exhale. Relax.
All right, Ateh is back. I can talk to Ateh. Hold on. Sorry, Ateh, I was talking to Jasmine. All right, what were you saying?
Oh, okay.
I can hear you now.
Yeah, I was saying that it's okay. During my day tomorrow, I'll do the voting form so that other proposals, because I think I saw some proposals on SFC. I can create a voting form also on the proposals and send it out.
Yes,
Is that
if
okay?
you want to do a voting form, that would be amazing, because then we would have all the information. So the best thing to do for the voting form is just like we always do it, which is like you have the option for the $400, $300, $200, $100, $50, 0, right? The only other thing I can think about is that
Mhm.
we also need to update the budget and send out the budget for approval. Plus, we have the HR board budget. But I would say you just focus on getting the actual health benefit approved itself. And then once, if that gets approved at a specific amount of money, then we know that the rest of the process is very simple, right? Because like if everybody is agreeing to and approving the
Mhm.
health benefit expense itself, and basically it would be a negative health benefit, so the proposal would be something like, proposal to agree to set up a negative starting health benefit for um, the following amount to Ateh for the surgery, right? So then that would be the proposal. Then you have the 400, 300, like the different amounts that people are voting for. And then if it passes, then we would just start the health benefit for the negative amount and then be pooling into it to get it into positive in the future. The only other thing that we can do is we could propose to take money from the operations fund, right? So the operations fund currently has a few $100s in it that are like $500, like, right? So that's definitely the other option that we could do. But then, of course, that takes the money away from all of our
Okay.
operations deliverables, right? So no, this removes the funds from our operations deliverables. Cool. So I think those are the two main proposals, and you could do score voting on each one of the different monetary options, or you could do checkbox. Either way works, but score is usually better. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it for at least getting a gauge. So then, if
Okay.
people agree to the actual amount, then the only two steps left is just finalizing the budgets and then finalizing the UMCUS loan agreement, right? So in my mind, even though the
Okay.
UMCUS loan agreement is required, if it's certainly getting the UMCUS loan agreement if we take up a loan shouldn't be that difficult if we've already agreed. It's the same thing we did with um, with Lucy, right? Because Lucy, we had agreement to pay the Lucy
Okay.
the $350 or whatever it was. So then it was just a matter of finishing the work on the UMCUS loan agreement and or whatever decision was going to be made, and that's where everything fell apart. And my understanding is that there was never a no vote on it. It was just we just didn't do the work, right? So the problem always comes together in
Yeah.
just actually doing the work. So um, yeah, so that's the other thing that could be in the voting forms is dealing with all of Lucy's proposals. But anyways, hopefully that's clear enough for getting things started. And then from there, it's just a matter of whether or not how people vote. So obviously, people are voting no on the actual approval of the health benefits to begin with. Then spending all the time on the UMCUS loan and all the budgets and all that maybe not worth it. But if it is agreed to, then it would be very easy. Should be almost automatic to get, or not automatic, but just we should expect the UMCUS loan agreement to be a positive outcome, right? It's just going to take time to do the work.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
that would be my recommendation is just a
Yeah.
simple proposal to vote on the amount of money and whether or not people want to do it. I myself am perfectly fine with, you know, 200, 300, $400. 400 people more like a five, but either way, I would certainly am not like against it. It's definitely a difficult situation for us, but nothing that we can't overcome. So it just depends on how the organization went. All I care is that we follow the policies. That's all I care personally, always. So we follow the policies, we
Yeah.
do everything as an
Yeah.
organization. It's
Yeah.
perfectly fine. Any other? I think I'm done. Check with everything. If you have any other comments, questions, anything? Oh look. Oh no, this
Okay,
is
Jay.
from.
So are you seeing Are you saying I should not include the other proposals for the budget for the other proposals?
Um, you can include whatever you want into the voting form. Hold on one sec. Let me check in with Jasmine. It looks like we may have lost Martine's. So I
Okay.
might just need 1 minute. And plus, we're just keep missing breaks.
Live streaming is on.
Hi. So, hold on. Let me check. So, basically, I think we're done. So all of your proposal is clear. So from here, it's just questions and voting. And then once it's approved or put into the budget, then we can figure out how we want to move forward. So I think it's possible that the budgets might get updated, in which case you would potentially be included in a budget option that can be voted on. So it's just all a matter of just figuring out what this next steps are. So your decision is either you can wait for the budget and the proposal to be approved, or you can schedule and come to sessions and try to help get the budget and the proposals all finalized and approved. It's up to you to decide what it is that you want to do. Okay? But there's no requirement at this point. You can just wait until everything gets approved or not, and then we'll just get back to you on the details.
Okay.
And you did your pop, right?
Thank you so much.
You did your pop, and you did your proposal, and you did your interview. So that's $6 so far. That have bonus.
Yes.
So I'll add that to our recruitment bonuses. So I'll do at Jez, and we have $2 for the proposal, $2 for the. You didn't really do the proposal though. We think we did that for you.
Yeah, I did.
So that one doesn't really count. So it's $2 for the interview, and $2 for the pop. So you're at $4 total so far. $4 total. Yeah, cool. Awesome. All right. Any other last questions?
Not so far,
All
sir.
right. Awesome. Well, have a wonderful day, and thank you so much. We'll let you
Thank
know.
you so much.
Bye bye.
Jasmine,
Yes, sir.
proposal to the Discord channel.
Time to pause. Please stop. Close your eyes. Count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Open your eyes.
So just paste it. Copy all those information. Paste
And I'll paste it on Discord.
Discord. Yes.
Okay.
All right. I'm going back to Lucy. I'll talk to you guys later. Or not Lucy. Ateh. Hey Ateh, I'm back. So I think we're done with Jasmine.
Okay, Jay. Okay, Jay, I'm here. Okay, I'll just try and send. I'll do the voting form tomorrow and send it out to you.
Sounds good. And just take care of yourself. You know, I mean, I'm assuming someone will get to it eventually if you don't do it. But if you're able to do it, then that's fine. If you're not, don't. You should push yourself, but it shouldn't be too difficult.
Okay, I'll try. If I don't know, I'll try. If I'm not able, then I'm going to let you know. Just that sitting up for like 30 minutes is not easy for me.
Okay. But hopefully you could do a voting form in more like 10 or 15 minutes, but we'll see. So,
Yeah.
do you want to stay for
Yeah.
topic 2 at all? Or do you need to get going or what? Or do you have any other questions or?
No,
And you can also you can ask Martins if maybe he'll do it
to
for
get
you.
going.
Maybe Martins would be willing to do it. So I mean, I can try to check with
I really
Martins
can't stay for
to
long.
see. Can try to check with Martins to see if he's coming, but I don't know. Let me see if he's coming.
Orange, yeah.
I'll try to see
Live
him.
streaming is on.
Hey,
Okay.
Martins,
Sorry?
Yes,
are you planning on coming to talk with Ateh at all or no?
I'm coming. I'm coming. In the
Okay, she
next
needs to get
2
going
minutes.
because it's been over a half an hour already.
Yes.
Okay.
She's not
So
doing well.
I'll see you later.
Okay, I think Martins is coming. And then you can talk to him if you want. But anyways, while we're waiting for Martins, I'll
Okay,
explain
Martins
topic
is
two
coming.
again. No, he said he's coming. I'll explain to you topic two again, which is the values discussion. So basically, the
Okay.
discussion that's been happening is related to our core values for pay. And the proposal is that everyone gets paid equally anywhere in the world for the same amount of work, right? So what that would mean if you have one person in $3,000 jurisdiction and
Mm-hmm.
one person in $300 jurisdiction, that they would both get the same amount of money. So let's say they both work on the same thing and they both complete a website and it's worth $1,000 for the month. The person in the $300 jurisdiction would get $1,000 and the person in the $3,000 jurisdiction would get $1,000. And then that's basically the concept. My concern, of course, is
Okay.
that the person in the $3,000 jurisdiction would be homeless and the person in the $300 jurisdiction would have three houses. So it's just a little bit odd, but that's the discussion. Okay.
Hi, Ate.
Oh yeah, Atey had some questions for you, Martins.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hi. I'm listening, Ate. I hope you are feeling good now. Better.
Atey, are you there?
Ate.
Live streaming is
Hi,
on.
Martins.
Hi,
I've
Ate.
tried my best. So yes, I was asking, where exactly do you have difficulties in creating voting form? A little
The
bit
network is
better.
breaking.
At least I'm from taking some injection, and I think the pain has subsided a bit. Can you hear me? Can anyone hear me? Can anyone hear me?
I
Yes, we can hear you.
I can't hear you clearly. Come, can you please come again? Ate. Ate.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I
Uh-huh,
can hear you
yes.
now.
Hello? Yes, I can hear you
Hello.
very well.
Okay,
Great.
yeah, yeah, you can say it again.
Okay, so
What is
my question is,
is it
where
breaking over
exactly
there?
do you have difficulties with the voting form?
Okay, for the voting form, yeah, it's I have it on last note. Yesterday's note. I
It's
will
true,
link
I
it.
have a very poor internet. Yeah. No,
I
I'm
will link
asking
it.
where exactly, if you have difficulties in creating voting form.
I do not have difficulty in creating voting form. I was almost getting it done yesterday. I've started it because I've worked with it with with
Okay, okay,
Lucy
okay.
2 times. But the I needed clarification from Jay because he said we should get proposals that was done or that
Time
was
to
proposed
pause. Please stop.
during
Close
main
your
session.
eyes. Count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Open your eyes.
During main session, and I noticed that it was just three proposals. So I wanted to ask him, should I
Yeah.
include other proposals that were done during the weekly regular BT sessions? So I've done like three
Okay,
already.
okay. Then that's great. If you were
Yeah,
able to do
so
voting form, then that's great. I thought you were having some
yeah,
difficulties.
so
Okay,
No,
so
Martins,
not at
Martins,
Jay and I, we just did the topic, and he said you were with other new recruits. I hope everything is going on well.
everything is going on well. It's just that everything we are a little bit not organized in terms of when we want to do actual work,
Yeah,
that is when they say they are available. And because we are on recruitment rounds, it's important for us to prioritize them so it's affecting getting work done.
yeah,
And
of
instance
course.
was a time when we were
Yeah,
trying to address the issue of budget. Then suddenly one of the recruits just said he's available for written interview when we have actually been asking them to schedule prior before that time. So I was forced to
No, you're not
go and
forced. You agreed. You could have just told them Monday because they didn't schedule.
whatever. So I had to just leave that session that was going on with Jay and Lucy. So I went to go and do the written interview for them, for him rather.
Are you talking about the
So
one
it,
that was on the main session?
no, not on the main session. I think
Or
that was
today? I thought you
like
were talking about the
regular.
one today.
What is it?
I thought you were talking about the one
I'm not.
today.
No, I'm not talking of the one for today.
Oh.
I'm talking of the one of I think on Wednesday or
Hmm.
Thursday or Tuesday thereabout. That was for Afolabi when he came, Majid. So I
Alright.
was just trying to cite an example for Ateh to see how they are popping up or
Yeah.
saying to interviews affecting actual work.
So I have a proposal that we only do recruitment 2 days per week. And so all the recruits have to come those 2 days, and if they don't come those 2 days, then they can't. Then we shouldn't have to worry about them other days. So
Okay.
Martins, in regards to the voting form, you can include proposals from the proposals channel, and you can also include this proposal for Ateh for the $400.
I'll get it done. I'll get it done tonight.
Yeah, just send me when you have a draft, and I can help with it.
Okay.
I'm
Okay,
happy to
no
help with
problem.
the I'm happy to help with the voting form or anything. I'm just not willing to do
I'll
it by myself, right? It's like we all need to
Okay,
work on these things together.
please stop. Write down
I'll do it.
whatever you were about to say and take a break for 6 minutes.
All right, let's
I'll
take
do
a
it.
break, and when we get back, we can focus on topic 2. That sound good?
Yeah, good. Yeah.
And then Tay,
Yeah,
if you need to
yeah,
get
but I
going, that's
need
fine.
to get go.
Yeah.
No problem.
Thank you guys so much.
You're
Sure.
welcome.
Martins and courage to the work. I know it's really too much of you right now.
Honestly, honestly. Yeah, just trying. It is well. Take good care of yourself, yeah?
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Greetings to the family.
Okay, I will thank you guys. Talk to
Yeah,
you later.
yeah, later.
Bye.
All right, I'm back. Are you there? Hello?
Hello, give me like 1 more minute, please.
And
It's
the
4
break.
o'clock.
Time to start. Please get focused on the session.
So we took a break at the at the wrong time because of your rhythm is wrong. So you need to fix the rhythm.
Okay. So we are in about how many minutes now?
What?
We are about how many minutes now?
I don't understand. What is the question? I mean, how many minutes?
You said the rhythm is wrong.
Yes, the rhythm just
The rhythm-
aligns with the time. So right now it's 45 after the hour. And you have it aligned, so you're 15 minutes off. Because you just said that we're at the bottom of the hour, or the top of the hour. You understand?
5. Open your eyes.
Anyways, I'll give you a few more minutes.
Yeah, thank you. I'm back. I'm back.
Time for breath. Please stop and get ready. Now inhale. 1, 2, 3. Exhale. 1, 2, 3. Pause. Inhale together. 1, 2, 3. Exhale. Relax.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Hey, I'm back.
Okay, I'm back.
Good.
All right, so we're doing topic 2 now. Are there any other questions on topic 1?
One. No, it's just that I'm seeing the proposal now. So I agree to set up a negative starting health benefit for the following amount to attain. Okay. Yeah. So, and to take money from the operations fund. This removes the fund from our operations deliverable. So should we put details for this proposal as well? Like this? Details.
And then there's also Lucy's proposals too. Like if you're gonna add all of Taylor's proposals, you should probably add Lucy's as well.
I'll do that. I will send you the draft once I'm done.
Yeah. Cool.
So we have
So
another.
topic 2. You ready for topic 2?
Yes, I'm ready.
All right. So who should start for topic 2?
Okay. Uh, Let me start. Do we have a tab for it? We don't have a tab for it.
No.
Let's create a tab for it. Topic 2. Hmm. So, family 2. Family discussion. Yeah.
Time to pause. Please stop. Close your eyes. Count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Open your eyes.
Okay, yeah. Okay, he's already thank you, done that. So to start with, like I said, to me, um, this is a very pretty complex and sensitive discussion because it involves fairness, economic realities, and the values of the organization. For me, when we are talking of fairness, equal pay versus equal work. So if two people are doing the same work with the same skills and effort, the question is, should they earn the same? On the principles of fairness, to me, I think they should, regardless of where they are living. Honestly speaking, to me, they should, regardless of where they are living. Because by the time we begin to remove that, some sense of discrimination will begin to come in. Some sense of discrimination will begin to come in. And most people see online platform or remote platform as avenue to break barriers for limitations because you know quite alright to be sincere with you, we have bigger companies, multinational companies in Nigeria that they come to Nigeria and they employ our workers and they pay them less and they will bring their expatriates or their people from Silicon Valley from and they'll be paying them based on what the current skill value or price they should be earning in US while they are in America. And they have the same skill set with people in Nigeria. So this has usually been a serious discussion. Now, when we look at the morale of the worker, they will be they will not be motivated. They will feel that they are being valued and paid less. They are valueless, and at the same time, there is no there is no reward for their service. So anywhere in the world, as long as you can work
Time
and
to take a
deliver,
break. Please stop. Write down
Well, now the
whatever
time
you
is
were about
correct.
to take a break for 6 minutes.
Do
should we
we
take
should
a
we do
break?
this break? Might as well, right? But you can
Yeah,
finish your thought if you want to just finish your thought, and then we'll take a break.
so like I was saying, it's important for us to balance these two things. Where should we make a balance? Because we can't say because the standard of living in the US is high or is high and lower compared to Nigeria, you should pay a Nigerian worker or any other worker from old world doing much work as much as people in the US. It's not going to be okay anywhere. If the organization is promoting the value of equity, fairness, and justice, this is one example of injustice we are silently burying under the rug. And it should not be. It should not be in any way. So we should have a policy that tries to strike a balance. We know the organization might not have enough resources to cater, but whatever they want to pay at whatever price should be commensurate across board. Check.
Cool. All right. So let's take a quick break, and then when we get back, we can continue. Okay, I'm back.
I'm back.
So, is there anything that you would like to add?
And
It's
the
4 o'clock.
break. Time to start. Please get focused on the session.
One other thing I just need to add is that, um, you know, I think Bethany, one of the newly hired HR, she said, I think she's of the opinion that we should go for the option of equal work, equal pay. So the only concern I have is that I'm not sure if the organization is financially okay to go for that. But if the organization have the strength and the capacity to go for that, it's a worthwhile policy. You will see a lot of people putting in their best and getting this thing done, getting this job done faster. Because you know we it's an organization that is not going to be paying huge amount of money to everybody, but the little they will be paying to should not be based on the fact that I'm in old world, I will get less compared to somebody in new world because they are doing because of their economic realities or whatever. Like I told you, the amount of money we spend here, if you have a vacation down to Nigeria just for 2 weeks, you will see the amount of you will see how at the speed of light you will exhaust the money you have brought to spend the vacation because there is high level of inflation day in day out. The price of goods and services are not fixed, especially in this part of the world because the government is corrupt. Nobody is taking anybody responsible. The prices of oil, gas goes up, groceries they go up. It is not what you see today, is what you see tomorrow. At least you can have a fixed price that is constant for like 5, 10 years in cold world because the system is structured to be at least to reduce or to fight inflation. But here we have what we call galloping, hyper-rocketing inflation, and nobody cares to bother. So that is just the reason why we feel when we can do some extra activities that will out of fun, we get some little amount from it should help us to meet up with our regular work. Check.
Cool. So, I copied and paste. I copied and pasted in the proposal for the fork, and then from there, I wanted to cover sort of the overall. So there's the fork proposal, and then there's like the overall um,
Time to
strategy.
pause. Please stop. Close your eyes. Count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Open your eyes.
Cool. So you have the fork proposal, so we can go ahead and vote on that if we want to, or go through it again. But basically, I'm certainly a yes on the proposal. As far as the overall strategy for FQV is that I don't believe that the social causes of the world are going to be fixed by first world countries. So okay, believe is not the right word. The strategy that we have is a potential concern that first world countries will not be fixing the problems of our planet, right? So whether I believe that or not is irrelevant. So it's not about believing it. It's just the fact. It's the fact that the strategy. So I'm just going to delete the word believe, right? So the social causes. The strategy is that the social causes are not going to be fixed by first world countries, right? So what does that mean? It means that we're investing in essence, third world countries as a strategy to support basically low income workers to transform the world. So in the same context where basically you have massive corporations going into third world countries and abusing labor and resources, right? when you have companies in first world companies and they go into third world countries and then they exploit the labor, they're able to make billions of dollars, right? So the
Yeah.
idea for our strategy is that we have very little money in the social movements, right? There's very, very, very little money. So we can make our dollar go further by hiring people from all over the world, and we can utilize AI to balance and equate the value for social movements and projects, right? So the potential for social movements to be successful is bigger than ever before because we can do so much more with less people, right? But then and beyond that, the problem is that if you hire people in the United States or even get volunteers in the United States and you're not even paying them, the thought process of first world movements and activists
And for
typically
breath, please stop
disregards
and
the
get ready.
needs of
Now
people
inhale.
across the world.
1, 2, 3. Exhale. 1, 2, 3. Pause. Inhale together. 1, 2, 3. Exhale. Relax.
And I can give endless examples, but the bottom line is that if you are in poverty in the United States and you're homeless and you can't meet your own needs, you don't think of yourself like the 1%, right? But people who are homeless can still be making more money at jobs and income and social services that put them in the 1% compared to the people who are across the world. But they're still living in poverty and they're still homeless, or at least semi-homeless, right? So so in that context, the people who are struggling in first world countries, because obviously if you're not struggling in your first world country, then no one those people don't care. They're not activists. So the people who are struggling are the activists, and they are disconnected from the needs of the people all across the world. So if we can empower through cooperation and co-ops, like co-ops empower people everywhere across the world, we can um, utilize globalization for good instead of for bad. So the idea is that we're going into third world countries, we're empowering individuals through consensus decision making and collaboration and partnerships to build value and build movements, but we have to do the work. If we can't do the work, there's nothing. But there's no value, there's nothing, right? And that's where we are now, is we're not able to do the work, right? So the bottom line is that the strategy is clear. Whether it's a good strategy or not is to behold. But I think there is a reason why it's important on a global level to be working with people all over the world, um, and paying people who have less incomes, right? So with that context, it's not necessarily a good or a bad thing. It just is what it is. So if we look at what Bethany was saying in terms of what you were talking about, well, I guess it could be good or bad, but it just depends on the opinion, right? So it just depends on your perspective and your opinion, and that's irrelevant in terms of the pay equality, right? So the strategy can go either way. So you can have a fork, and you can have both of the model that you're proposing and the model that we currently have, which is equal time, not equal pay, right? So when Bethany is talking, and if we go to Bethany's text here, it was in the DM server, right? So she says, I understand it's hard. I admit I have a hard time following the conversation unless you give me a prompt. So I'm not certain how that can be better optimized on your side. But she says the discussion about core values in the jurisdiction, I would agree.
Time.
I live in higher jurisdiction.
Please stop. Close your eyes. Count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Open your eyes.
So she said, I live in a higher jurisdiction. I would rather have earnings go to the person who better deserves the work that they put in. So for me, what that's saying is that she would not want pay, and instead we only hire people in third world countries. That's what I'm hearing her say. So I did not hear her say equal work, equal pay. I heard her said that no pay for first world.
What part of what Discord server is that?
This is the DM, the decision making.
Okay, GM. And
And it's in
so
the HR board or monthly budgets.
monthly budget.
But yeah, that's what you were referring to when she said that she would support it, right? But what I read is different than what you're reading. I'm not reading equal work equal pay. I'm reading that first world would just not get paid because if we're paying third world instead, then we're not paying people from first world. Because she's basically saying, oh,
Okay.
I would rather the earnings go to someone who better deserves it,
I knew that I have
right?
lifetime problem because unless you give me a come so I am not better. Yeah. The
Well,
discussion of core value and decision, I will agree. I live in higher jurisdiction and so would rather earning go to a person who better deserves it for the work they put in. So you think that people who work hard in first world countries should go homeless while we pay people in third world countries same which allow them to buy 3 houses? She did reply again. It's a difficult discussion for sure, and there are pros and cons on both sides. But for me, it is all about quality of life, not the amount of money. We will be discussing this more today if you want to join. We got more clarity of budget situation from Abubakar, so that is good. Okay, she's here to reply.
yeah, she's yet to reply. So, anyways, like obviously, as you just read, for me, in my perspective, I don't I'm all about quality of life, and I don't understand the idea that we would pay people the same so that somebody in a first world country would be homeless and somebody in a third world country would have 3 houses. I don't get it at all. I don't think that's fairness, equality, or justice, and that's just my perspective.
Mm.
So, but it's just my perspective. So it's like, for me, trying to understand the balance of it, I think it's important to go into what our current policies are related to this particular context. So the current policies obviously start with equal time and unequal
Time.
pay
Stretch. Please stop, stand up, and stretch and move around for 30 seconds.
based on jurisdiction. Okay, let's stretch, and I'll go through the policies. Wait, hold on one second.
Okay, we're leaving. We'll see you guys later. I guess we're not gonna see you for like 3 months.
I know it's gonna be a while.
Alright, well have a good trip.
All right, I will. Okay, so as I was saying, our current policy is basically equal time and unequal pay based on jurisdiction. Okay, so what that
Yes.
means is that, oh wait, I need to say bye one more time. Bye. Take care. Later.
Alright, later, dude.
Bye. So basically, what that means is that your value is based on your jurisdiction. So your value is based on your jurisdiction, and 100%, jurisdiction at $3,000 per month is equal to 100% jurisdiction at $300 per month, depending on the jurisdiction. So then what you get is you have what's called the time token, and everyone's power is equal to their time. So if person A in jurisdiction 1 works 30 hours and person B in jurisdiction 2 works 30 hours, they get the equal power and value for that token, right? So we have a time token, which is the power token. Is like your power is equal. So you as a member, as a core person in our cooperative, have equal power to me. I have no additional power, and the only additional power that anyone would get would be based on time. So if you are working 1 hour per month versus someone putting in 200 hours per month, that person may have more tokens in the power context for making decisions, right? But everyone's time is equal. There's no difference in time. So then you have the decision making over money. So the time token and the power is the power over all decisions, right? So you have power over all decisions. But then you have decisions over money. So decisions over money have been distributed to the HR board. The HR board decision making is based on our ranking, which is that the less you are paid, the more power you have. So volunteers have the most power.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Open your eyes.
But this also empowers people by jurisdiction. So if you're paid less money by jurisdiction, you have more power. Right? So that balances the power between old world and new world and first world and third world and all that, to make sure that everyone's needs are met, because even if you are low amount of money, if you're still making 300% jurisdiction, somebody who's only making 50% of their jurisdiction in the first world would have that power as well, because the less money you make per jurisdiction, the more power that you have. So these are our current policies in relationship to the decision making and the distribution. The other policy we do have is that you can have dual jurisdictions, and that we support migration throughout the world. So if you want to transfer jurisdictions, we can basically save more money for that person, and we could even make trusts to ensure legal verification that the money is spent in the new jurisdiction when they go there. So they could be saving up money, at instead of $300 a month, they could be saving money at $3,000 a month, as long as they're going to the jurisdiction and migrating. So if people want to migrate, then they should be able to make whatever amount of money that's needed to be able to live wherever they are going. From there, we do have the global jurisdiction, which obviously is like, a minimum, I think, of like $200,000 per 4-year package for full time. So we have our global jurisdiction ensures that basically everyone should be able to get rich no matter where they are in the world. So I don't remember exactly what it is, but it's a minimum of $100,000 to $200,000 for a full time package. So we do have a minimum global jurisdiction. So anyways, that's kind of like our basic policy package to ensure, but what that doesn't do, obviously, is what you're talking about, which is that you want to have equal, what do we call it in the proposal? It is equal money. So everyone gets paid the same wherever they are, right? But then it's not equal time. So people's time is considered more valuable depending on how people are
Time for breath.
structured.
Please stop and get ready. Now inhale. 1, 2, 3. Exhale. 1, 2, 3. Pause. Inhale together. 1, 2, 3. Exhale. Relax.
So I think overall, we should approve the fork. We should get the fork started, and then over time we can learn how to have a balance between the two. Because I think in the end, a balance between the two is the best. I think there should be ways to value skill and people's work based on their abilities. Oh, that does bring me up. There's one other part, which we do also have what's called community equity. So 25% of all value is saved for future distributions, which can be based on skill and contributions and outcomes as opposed to time. So we do actually put value aside that can go towards actual skills. But it's hard, but it's easier to see that from the future looking back. So we have multiple types of tokens values. So we have time tokens, we have power tokens, right? So time tokens are based on jurisdiction. Power tokens are based on equal time for everyone, regardless of jurisdiction. And then you have your network equity. Network equity tokens, which are based on synchronicity with the natural cycles, right? And then you have the fourth one that I was just mentioning is that you have the equity based on contributions and skill level, and we also do have bonuses for taking on positions and harder work like executive level work. So there are ways that we do have different types of value for different positions, but I agree the fundamental difference is totally separate, right? The difference between equal time versus equal money, right? So equal time versus equal money. So this is unequal money and this is unequal time. Okay?
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Time to pause. Please stop. Close your eyes. Count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Open your eyes.
And again, for me, it's all about quality of life, and for you, it's about,
Value.
motivation for money, right?
Motivation for money.
What is the motivation for? But you're saying that people won't be motivated because they're not getting equal money.
No, as a value, motivation for being valued when you pay them less compared to somebody over there. Not necessarily
That's
the money,
money.
but in terms of how they are valued.
And with money, you're talking about value with money. You don't care about whether they have a house or they can eat. You're only talking about the money. So value is much more than money. But I just disagree with that. It's just not value. Because it's about money. For me, quality of life is value. Right? Without a quality of life, there is nothing. Right? So for me, it's not. You're not talking about value. You're talking about money. You just want to get paid equal pay for equal for your time, right? So if you're getting equal pay, the motivation's coming from the money, not for any sort of quality.
The same thing goes with quality of life because you are talking about if they don't have that amount of money, they might be homeless. If that so, it's more or less we're speaking the same thing, but
No,
from
what we're
different
talking
points of
about is someone in a $300 jurisdiction per month jurisdiction getting paid $1,000 per month, and someone in a $3,000 per month jurisdiction getting paid $1,000 per month, and the person in the $3,000 jurisdiction is homeless, and the person in the $300 jurisdiction has 3 houses.
How are you so sure they have 3 houses?
Because they're getting paid 3 times as much money, so they can afford 3
And do you
houses.
think $300? Do you think that because they are getting paid that amount of somebody with being homeless, that amount of money can allow them to get houses in their jurisdiction?
That's why it's a jurisdiction. So the jurisdiction covers the cost of living. So if you're getting 3 times more the cost of living, you have the ability to pay rent 3 times. That's exactly the calculation.
Remember, they might have family of 4, 5, 6. Africans, they give birth a lot in all these
But
things.
then you have a family jurisdiction, right? So if you want to say that the family jurisdiction is $1,000 a month, right? If the family jurisdiction is $1,000 a month and $9,000 per month or whatever, and then this person's getting, 3,000, and you're paying each one $3,000 for their families, because the idea that someone has a family in Bangladesh, that no one's going to have a family in first world countries is just not true. So they're at $3,000, they still have 3 houses for their family, and then the family that lives in the United States is still homeless. It doesn't matter whether it's the family jurisdiction and cost of living for a family or the cost of living for a individual. It's the same calculation.
Okay, I think we are supposed to be on break now.
Oh
We can
yeah,
come
let's
back
take a break.
later.
Break is good.
Yeah,
Also,
I have a question.
I do need to wrap up and check out because I have a session with Marcel in Spanish.
Okay, okay, let's just have. You're coming back after the break, right?
Yeah, or we could just skip the break since I need to get going, and then hopefully we could
Okay,
vote
fine.
on the
Before we
fourth
get going,
proposal.
I want to have this clarity. You said you made mention of dual jurisdiction that there is a support for migration throughout the world. Can you be more explanatory about that? I
Yeah, so
really need
let's
to
say
get that.
you want to move to New York City, right? So you're in Lagos, right? So
Yes.
if you go to livingcost.org and you put in Lagos, Nigeria, Lagos, Lagos, how do
Lagos,
you spell it?
Nigeria.
Lagos. There you go, Lagos, Nigeria, and you put in New York City, and you compare the two. Lagos, Nigeria is $1,113 per month. So it's $1,113 per month for Lagos. And then for New York City is 4,441. $4,441 for New York City. So a dual jurisdiction would be the median, the half of that, right? So it would just be like this plus that divided by 2 would be a savings of 2,000, would be a total of 2,777. So they're basically making an extra, they're more than doubling their value. So more than doubling their value each month to save up to move to New York City. So if they're getting more than double their value, they would have enough money to live in New York City within like 6 months. So it would probably take 6 months to a year to be able to migrate. But then once they get into New York City, it's wonderful that they moved to New York City, but now they're going to have to spend $5,000 a month to live.
That's crazy.
It's not crazy. It's just reality. Like no
Yeah,
one's
as in
getting
the
paid
reality
five
is
thousand
coming. Why
dollars a
will I
month
spend
not to
that amount
live
of
in New York
money
City.
and keep spending again?
What?
I said, as in looking at it, I saved that amount of money saved for me only to get down to that point to where I desire to be, and I'm still spending more.
No, but once you move to New York City, you'll be making $4,000 a month instead of $1,000 a month. But then you're spending $4,000 a month. So you have enough savings. So if you save up $1,600 a month for let's say 10 months, that's going to be $16,000 that you'll have saved up to move to New York City. You're going to spend most of that money on the travel and the first month's rent and last month's rent and all of that. So then by the time you get to New York City, maybe you have $5,000 left to get you through the first month of your costs or first month or two of your food and all that. And then you're getting paid $4,000 a month. So then by the end of the next month, you'll have enough money to pay your rent for that month. And then you're going to be living at $5,000 a month when you're in New York City.
Okay.
But the idea that like someone in New York City should get paid $1,000 a month because everyone should get paid the same, and then they're homeless while the person in Lagos uh, basically has multiple houses. Like so, if you pay the person in Lagos $2,000 per month, and you pay the person in New York City $2,000 per month, then if you migrated to New York City, you would be homeless, and the person in Lagos gets two houses. They have two houses to live on, and then they migrate to New York City, they get to be homeless.
Oh. That's a strong reality.
End
It's
of
4
break.
o'clock.
Anyways,
Time to start. Please get focused on the session.
let's get voting on the fork, and then we can just see where we're at on the proposal, and then go from there. So this is line 160. To fork and create a new branch of FQB Vortex that has a core value that all people across the world have the same jurisdiction and get paid the same amount of money for the same amount of time based on the skill level and expertise. So we would change the core power structure from jurisdiction percentage to lowest cost worker. $1 per hour equals 10 votes, and $10 per hour is equal to 1 vote. So the same level of work derives the same level of money. Okay?
Yes.
So how do we understand different levels? Yeah, so this is all, so we still want to do the criteria and get that all worked out, which is great. But then once we have the criteria worked out, it should be good. So we had lots of questions. I don't know if you have any other questions, but we can do the concerns. I don't have any concerns, so I don't know if you have any concerns, but basically then we can vote.
No, I don't have.
So I would be just like, a 7.5 on it. Obviously I'm not joining, not I would join, but I would not support the new value, but do support the fork to make sure we are organized, right? So we want to be organized and functional, and so it would it's very important that we would fork to address this particular concern.
So my vote will be 7.0.
7.
Okay, I think I've already voted. You just voted.
Well, I put your 7 down. You said 7, right?
Yeah, 7.0, yeah.
So it passes. So the next steps here would just be setting up a budget for this new fork, and then figuring out how to fund and pay for it. So we set up a budget and then fund and pay for it. So then let's say we have a budget of $500 per month, right? And then you have Ali from Bangladesh, and then you have Martins from Lagos, right? How do you split up the pay? How much do you get paid and how much does he get paid? That would be the basic question. So if you're paying yourselves both the same, you will go spend $250.
Close your eyes. Count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Open your eyes.
Based on there would be no jurisdictions, right? So there's no jurisdictions. And also the tokens would be different, right? So the tokens now are not based on jurisdiction, so all of your value in your tokens would all be equal tokens and equal value, right? So equal tokens and equal value. So you have to figure out how and why people would get different amounts of tokens and what the tokens would mean. That make sense?
Yeah.
So once you figure out your tokens, then we can set up the tokens for you. So our tokens are all based on jurisdiction. So basically, if everyone's getting the same value for the same tokens, so you could say you could have your upfront budget. Upfront budget is say $250 for Ali and $250 for you. So your jurisdiction is $1,000 per month. Ali's jurisdiction is $300 per month. So I mean, I guess we could just say that let's start with $600 as an example. Right, so at $600, Ali would be getting $300 and you would be getting $300. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So then
Can I
you need
change
to
my
figure
vote?
out what?
Can I change my vote?
Change your vote for what?
I want to revote.
Why?
Live streaming has stopped.
I mean, I think it's policy training.
The policy training. Because the amount of work it will take and the resources it will consume.
Why would we have resources and take and all that? I don't understand.
if we are fucking to this, if you are fucking into this model, it will take time to build up. We need to set up criteria, the resources and everything to take time.
But
And we
that's the
have a
only. But
lot
that's
of
how you make it work,
challenges.
though. Because if you don't do that, then it
So,
doesn't work. Like nothing's gonna work if we don't do that. How do we move forward without doing that?
I think going by the old model would be okay for now.
No, it's not
I
okay.
wouldn't.
I'm completely against going by the old model because
Well,
it goes
I'll do
nowhere.
positive and I'll change my votes.
Sure, you can do whatever you want to, but the point is that if we go to the old model, we're just in a stalemate. We're stuck. We're going anywhere. So we're going to move much faster by actually getting agreement to doing the correct thing. If you're not interested in doing the correct thing because you're worried about doing work,
Time
then
for breath. Please stop and get ready. Now inhale, 1, 2, 3. Exhale, 1, 2, 3. Pause. Inhale together, 1, 2, 3. Exhale, relax.
if you are worried about doing the right thing because it's more work, then your whole entire thing is your whole concept is wrong, right?
No, 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 no,
The
no.
idea that third world
It's
countries and
not
everything
wrong.
are not going to do the work.
We
It doesn't
have a
make any
lot
sense.
of issues that we have not been able to address
This is the
directly.
biggest issue of all. This issue is a million times more important than anything else that we are talking about, including all the budgets and everything. Because without this, there is no budget.
Okay, no problem. Let's just go.
Right? It's like you're the core value of changing how much people get paid is the foundation to all of our value and all of our payments and all of our budgets and all of our deliverables and everything for the entire cooperative.
Hmm.
So without having clarity and agreement on this, it is impossible to move forward on anything. And it's possible that this is the core reason why work doesn't get done, and that we have a divide between myself and other workers and everything because of this issue. So if this actually addressing this issue might actually solve all of the problems of the legal action and all the issues with Lucy and all the other issues, right? Because if people prefer to join a co-op that is based on equal pay for anyone across the world, then we understand what's going on. Because like
Mm-hmm.
everybody would be discriminating against me just because I'm from first world. And then I just get used and destroyed. Because that's basically what happened over the last 5 years. Because if everybody looks negatively at me simply because I live in the first world, then we need to deal with this first and foremost and create a structure. Let me go into a little bit more. This gets very, very complicated, but this is part of our structure and models. So it would be a buffered structure of third world and community jurisdictional value. So this goes back to our jurisdictional model, but it's the same thing, right? So the value of the lower cost of living, right? The value of lower cost of living frameworks of power are essential to cooperative decision making, right? So in the existing model, we do it by jurisdiction, but it's the same thing of what you're doing, because when you create a new
Please
fork,
stop. Close your eyes. Count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Open your eyes.
when you create a new fork that's only based on money, lower paid workers automatically have more power, and so you buffer and separate power from first world countries, which I think is extremely important. You need a movement in the world of first of in essence third world countries, of lower income groups, people in Africa, people in Bangladesh, people in other countries, working together in a cooperative movement where they cannot be controlled and coerced by first world people, and that there's a buffer. In essence, if you are from from a higher income community, you have less power. And I think that is extremely important because by creating that buffer and creating a token and value ownership that ensures power to lower income communities and not capital based on billionaire class, billionaire and millionaire.
Live streaming is on.
You will get, and I'm also streaming as well, just so you know, I have 2 recordings going. But you also will ensure that those people's value is buffered and controlled. So when we look at our global jurisdictions, how can we get to the global jurisdictions? I think if I go here. So jurisdictions. So this would be the list of jurisdictions, currently established jurisdictions. So I'm going to link this down here. We know that there are not very many global jurisdictions. So you come into the jurisdictions, and our jurisdictions, the lowest is basically $350,000, right? So our global jurisdictions are 350,000, and this is US dollar equivalent over 4 years of full-time work. Then you have 500,000. Then you have, usually there's 750,000. Then you've got, it looks like there is 200,000. Then you have 1 million, 1.5 million, 2 million, and 3.5 million. So there's 1 million, 1 million, 1.5 million, 2 million, and 3.5 million. Okay, so I don't know if these are exactly correct or not.
Time to stretch. Please stop, stand up, and stretch and move around for 30 seconds.
But the point is that in the entire world, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 jurisdictions, right? So in all, when you have thousands and thousands of cities and jurisdictions all across the world, it's very, very complicated. So there's literally thousands of jurisdictions. And we take the thousands of jurisdictions and we simplify it into just 7. So we have 7 jurisdictions across the world. And this is where our model is extremely important, which relates directly to your model. Is that the total value of all jurisdictions is not 3.5 million. The first world jurisdictions do not own and control the third world jurisdictions. The total jurisdictional value is 10 million because they add all up accumulatively. So if the first world person who has their 3.5 million jurisdiction wants to have equity value in other jurisdictions, they have to invest in them. And so the total value for all jurisdictions would be 10 million, which means even someone from first world with their 3 million wouldn't be able to buy out all of the other jurisdictions. It would be impossible. It would be impossible. So every jurisdiction is interdependent. They have their own power. So what we're talking about is what your fork would do in terms of our model would be to empower minimally the first level jurisdiction. So the fork would set the foundational baseline empowerment of the primary global base jurisdiction, because everybody would have equal pay and equal power within a single jurisdiction. So it would at least align with the lowest one. Hopefully it would be even higher than the lowest. But it would minimally make sure that the $300 per month jurisdiction was empowered. And that everybody at that level would be empowered. Right? And that nobody in first worlds could control that equity or be part of that equity in any way whatsoever. And because they would be separated and buffered. And that's what this fork does, and that's extremely important. So I want to make sure it's very clear. I would be losing power in this fork because there's no way I'm going to be getting paid $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 a month before everybody in Bangladesh and then in Lagos is getting at least their $300, $400, $1,000 a month. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Which is okay. That is okay for a fork. It's not okay in the work that I'm doing because I am trying to create these 7 jurisdictions.
Please stop. Close your eyes. Count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Open your eyes.
So we want all these 7 jurisdictions. And under the policies, and I know this is getting very, very high level, but under these policies, if I'm getting 3.5 million equivalency value, I can take that value and invest in other jurisdictions as well, starting with the lowest one, as long as it's buffered that I can't control anything. So I would be an external investor, but I'm not in that jurisdiction, so then I can be bought out. I can't control anything. I get no vote. I get no oversight. I can support that jurisdiction, but I can't control that jurisdiction. And the moment that jurisdiction wants me out, they can return the money, and then it's basically you're out, right? So, and then if I did do that, you can see here, let's say I invested $1 million or $1 million equivalent into if you're in the 33.5 million jurisdiction, which I don't think I am, but anyways, if you invested $1 million into, let's say, the base jurisdiction, you would not have 3.5 million anymore. You would only have 2.5 million, right? So it's basically like you don't actually have that much value. Like the 3.5 million is not that much compared to the 10 million, because the actual jurisdiction of the entire world is 10 million and no one's getting anywhere close to that. And that's the entire problem with the model of the current capitalist society, is that we equate the 3.5 million jurisdiction as the total jurisdiction of the planet, and that everybody gets 3.5 million for the first world, and then the first world controls all of the third world countries. But in the model that we're doing, the first world is only a third, if not less than a third, of the total jurisdictional value of the entire planet, because the total value is 10 million. So the actual first world has a very, very small influence on the overall global power structures, right? So this is the core of what we're trying to change, but this is only one small step that direction. What you're talking about is an even bigger transformation, which is going into a single jurisdiction and or supporting the foundational jurisdiction of the entire planet, which needs to happen. So I don't have anything against it. I think it's great, and it moves forward our goals, and then it separates out the people who want to focus on the value related to the base jurisdiction versus people like me who have no choice but to focus on the value of the highest jurisdictions as well, right? Because I have to get paid and I have to cover my costs where I live.
Please stop and
I have
get
no choice
ready.
to that, you know?
Now inhale. 1, 2, 3. Exhale. 1, 2, 3. Pause. Inhale together. 1, 2, 3. Exhale. Relax.
Anyways, the point is that a lot of this has already been worked out. We do need to create a new token, but the new token is already in essence in the works, because the new token is the foundational token of the, in essence, the $350,000 jurisdiction, right? So we can also look at these other jurisdictional tokens and create all of them and just start building the entire global jurisdictional model that's never been built before. We've never created those tokens, right? We've just never done it before. So we only have the value tokens. We don't actually have the jurisdictional tokens, right? So, and we didn't really have any plans of doing them until now. So I would say you start by creating your token, which then would fit into this on another level at a future time. And it would be very easy to create that token, right? So anyways, all I'm saying is that I don't think we have a choice but to address the complexity of our planet. We have to deal with all human beings and understand all human need everywhere. So I understand, yes, it's more work, but I don't think we have a choice. It's either we do this or we fail, because if we don't do the work that we know we need to do and we don't do it now, it's never going to happen. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So the reason why we're here with this proposal is because it's inevitable. And the truth of the matter, Martins, is that it's possible that this issue is the reason why we're failing.
Yes.
And that everybody that I'm working with and been working with for over almost a decade now across the world has an animosity towards first world because of the power structures and because of the money structures and because of the whole thing that is embedded into our society and into humanity itself, and that will never be successful in working together until this is addressed. And I believe it's
Yes.
very addressable. Is it going to be easy to address? No, but it is addressable. And the way that I would say that you address it, because we talked about paying me. Remember we talked about paying me?
Yes. Yes. We do.
So
Yes.
so let's go back to those numbers. I think those numbers are actually in the notes from before, because that was yeah, right here on line 69. So this is from the main session. We did paying me, I believe, right? Jay's pay, yeah, topic 5.
Yeah.
So we went through the breakout of the actual new contract investment and how that's going to look. So basically, we had the co-op cost, and we said that we had around $50,000. Okay. So now I'm coming back to our discussion, and I'm down on line 233.
3, 4, 5. Open your eyes.
So basically, if you have $10,000 for bills, you have $14,000 for workers, and then you have like $20,000 for, executives and activity and myself, right? So let's sort of break this down simply. So, ten to $15,000 bills, $15,000 workers, and $20,000 for myself. So we can break this out as so this would be bills, workers, J. Okay? J/executive. So, and this should add up to $50,000. Perfect. Okay. So now if we take this $15,000 on the workers, you could break this $15,000 for workers up. So let's try 5,000 each. So if you have $5,000, you could have $5,000 for like the base global equal values. So this is kind of like the model that Martins is working on. And then you have sort of the interdependent global jurisdictions model, and then we have the current $5,000 for the current model, which is like equal time, not equal pay. So the independent global jurisdiction model ensures quality of life within various lower income countries and higher cost cities. And then the 5,000 one, the current model ensures quality of life for first world and J, right? And then the base global equality ensures a base minimum structure of global equal pay. Okay, so basically we could break down that $5,000 each to have like an initial framework for an investment in essence. So basically if this $5,000 goes to this base global equity value, I would lose all ability to even vote on that money. Right? This money basically goes away and I lose all power and oversight over it because it goes to the base value. And then the global jurisdiction model at least would have a little bit of leeway that, for example, this model right here.
Please stop. Write down whatever you were about to say and take a break for 6 minutes.
This model right here would ensure that Bangladesh can't screw Lagos. Because Lagos is at $1,000 per month, whereas Bangladesh and Ali is at $300 per month, right? So this model, we're setting aside $5,000 just in case in the future Bangladesh or the $300 per month jurisdictions kind of overtake and wanted to screw over people from Lagos. At least we have a little money set aside to ensure that Lagos has a little bit of protection before losing all of it and only getting 300, right? So this makes sure that all possible options are addressed, and then we have a little bit of money to get started. Obviously, the money, the $15,000, is shared across all of it because everybody at the base level has access to the interdependent levels and the current model. So everybody at the base level has access to $15,000. Lagos would have access to at least the $10,000, and I would have access to at least the $5,000. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So basically, if you make it clear here, so example, Ali, right here, let's see. So Ali at the $300 would have access to all in power over all the $15,000. Then you would have Martins would have access to minimally the $10,000, and then myself would have access to minimally the $5,000. So I would have access to the $15,000 if you and Ali agree, right? So as long as you and Ali agree that I can also get some of that $15,000, that's fine. But the moment that you guys are like, no, Jay doesn't have any power over this $10,000. I don't want him to touch it. No, he can't have it. I don't have power anymore under your model. So then if Ali wanted to take away that money from you, he could take away the money from you and remove your power up to the $5,000. But Ali has power over all 15,000 because his jurisdiction is lower than everybody's. So he has primary power over all of it, but we have rights to ensure that our jurisdictions still have some power in terms of the final decision making, right? So it ensures kind of a balance of power to start to set this up, and it's also the model that we're supposed to be doing, right? But basically what you're saying and what you're working on would be you be supporting Ali's model because Ali would be the foundation, and you're saying, okay, there must be a foundational level where all people across the world are equal, and that we want to support that first, and only if they are supported and empowered can I be supported and empowered. And I actually do agree with you on that. I agree with you that if we all want to be empowered across the world, we first must support and empower those that are the most oppressed, which is the smallest jurisdiction countries and the people who have the least resources everywhere. Which in your case, you are 3 times higher than they are. And I'm 3 times higher than you are. Right? So you're right in the middle. That make sense?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. So so this would be like the 300, this would be like the 1,000, and this would be like the $3,000 level jurisdiction. Cool. Anyway, so I mean, I think we have a plan to moving forward. Sure, it's like some work, but as far as the minimal work to get started is very simple. All you have to do is you just step 1, you duplicate the DWC budget, and we're gonna have 2 budgets. There's DWC, you know, normal team, right, or the current one that we have, and then you have DWC, you know, fork, right? And
Okay,
the DWC fork is basically this, you know, global equal pay fork, right? So it's the same budget, it's just forked. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I understand.
And then we're going to be getting that approved by the HR board. From there, the only other next step that's going to be important eventually is going to be a responsibility to update and create a new. So we're going to be forking. So we need to update and create a new sponsorship proposal for the new fork. Okay. So this is going to create a fourth token, right? Because currently we have FQN, SFC, and Unity, and then this is going to create a fourth fork. For example, you could call it equality or whatever you want. It doesn't matter what you want to call it, but whatever you want to call it would be a fourth token. Okay.
Okay.
But this fourth token doesn't necessarily have to not include the other tokens and the other value. It's all one umbrella co-op with like 4 sub co-ops. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So we still have what we would call like the umbrella co-op. We're all still part of a co-op together. We are just separating the value. So basically, if you have $500 for next month, you guys need to figure out how much everyone's going to get paid, because the pay system is going to be different within that new budget. And you could also wait a month, just try to get the current budget passed, and the next month have the new budget. But I would say just go for it and just get the new budget started, get it finalized, and then see how it evolves.
Please get focused on the session.
But the whole entire payroll is going to be slightly different because there's no jurisdiction, right? All the jurisdictions are going to go away, or you're just going to create one single global jurisdiction. So it's whatever the single global jurisdiction is. For example, that global jurisdiction might be, for example, I was talking about the 300,000, right? So 350,000 across, like on line 218, right?
Okay.
So maybe that's the foundation, is that you start with the foundational global jurisdiction where everybody's at the same level, which would be the lowest level, and then you go up from there. And it is possible that people make less money than that, but we already have a jurisdictional, like there's already a divide in the entire world that we already deal with, which I'll put on line 283. Which is that, you know, there's already divides. You have first world, you have third world, but then you also have access to internet and then no access to internet. So there's people who make less money than the $300,000 jurisdiction, but typically what we find is that people who make less money than 300,000 don't even have access to internet or English. And that would be the other one, is you have English versus no English, right? So basically in my mind, under third world, you have the $350,000 jurisdiction as sort of like the base, which has to do with access to internet and English. But with no access to internet, it could easily go down to 100 or 200,000. And then not even speaking English, it's possible that it goes down to even lower than that, to 50,000, right? So it's just good to note that there are billions of people on the planet who have very little to no internet access, and that the base jurisdiction for those people, we've never even interacted with them because they can't even communicate with us. And they're probably their cost of living, their base ability to live is probably less than what I've even talked about at the 350,000, where they're more like 100,000 or even 50,000 over 4 years. Okay, so it is. There's definitely even lower than we interact with. So for my calculations, the $350,000 is only people who speak English and have internet access. So it's the lowest we've found of people that we have worked with who have internet access and speak English. All right.
Okay.
So it's just good when you're figuring out how your whole structure is going to work. What do you do with people who don't speak English and don't have internet access? Do they still get 350,000? Like, where do you cut it off? How do you work that? So in our model, we have a model for that.
Please stop. Close your eyes. Count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Open your eyes.
So in our model, we have a model for that where you can have no English, no internet, and you can have local communities working together and even building nodes and community, and we're supporting them in that. And then their base value and their base budget would be based on the fact that their jurisdiction might be 50,000, and that might be the base, you know. But we don't know exactly how much lower it could go than 350,000 because we just have never interacted with those people. We would need to start setting up local nodes, and we would need to start having liaisons who would liaison on the internet and then go into the communities that don't have internet and then start working with them. So we'd be paying people who work on the internet to go off the internet and then going into local communities to work in communities without the internet, right? So that is a whole another level, and that could be 5-10 years off. I mean, that would be much more expensive to start expanding to that level. So we don't even know if we're going to be successful at all for what we're trying to do now, but that would be way off, like probably 5 or 10 years if we are successful in, you know, building millions of dollars of value. So anyways, hopefully that's all sort of makes sense. I know it's very, very high level and very, very complex, or simplexic, but when you look at our model of the 7 jurisdictions across the world, the ability to simplify thousands of jurisdictions and all the minimum wages across the entire world into just 7 jurisdictions is pretty unbelievable already. And then the fact that these jurisdictions are individually empowered, so that each jurisdiction, so everybody who's making under 350,000 every 4 years, that group of people are fully empowered, separate from myself, from you, from everyone else, that they control their own equity and their own money and their own value. I have no ability to own or empower myself within their structure. And if I choose to invest in it, it is temporary, and I have no control or power in that, because they can just take the, return the money or even whatever they want to do. So it's like they control it. They control everything. Nobody from outside that jurisdiction will have any power. And that is the core to transforming the economic model, right? And so we have a lot. I could go on for days about all the economic transformations that we're trying to work on. But this is like the foundation to setting up the cooperative structure, where we will have basically 5 to 10 separate global jurisdictions, each one overseeing in essence their own forked co-op, where the cooperative and the community within those co-ops are empowered by only the people within that jurisdiction.
Get ready. Now inhale. 1, 2, 3. Exhale. 1, 2, 3. Pause. Inhale together. 1, 2, 3. Exhale. Relax.
And this is sort of like the foundation to the decentralized cooperative model. But it's meaningless if we don't actually build the empowerment. So I like what you're bringing up here, because what you are bringing up here is you're saying that the empowerment must start now. Because I'm only working on the $3.5 million value model, and everyone's getting value in that $3.5 million model, or the $2 million model, the $1 million, whatever, and that's what I'm working on, right? So you guys standing up and saying like, no, we need our own space, we need to be creating a model that everybody's equal, and that we all have our own power separate from Jay, I think that's very healthy and very good. Whether or not we can fund it and get people to invest in it is a whole nother question, because it's possible that it will be very difficult to fund and get people to support a organizational model that they have no power in and can't oversee. And that's why in the model that I'm making, first you set up the highest jurisdictional ones, because you work like, there could be jurisdictions even higher with like millionaires and billionaires and things like that, and then you work into the lower ones by building the value and the power, and you bring it down. But I think you have to do and both. Like you're saying, you have to immediately start empowering the most people of need across the world, and then you kind of meet in the middle. So you start at the bottom and the top, and then you come together in the middle. Yeah. So anyways, I think this is a great conversation. I think we've gone to a much better direction. I just remembered that I'm missing the meeting with Miguel. Let's see. Necesito terminar con Martínez. Yeah, so I do need to get going. So any other last questions or anything? Otherwise, let's wrap up and check out, and then I'm going to push back to the bottom of the hour. I don't actually see any. Oh, here's the wrapping. So we had myself, we had Ateh, we had Jezzy, and then we had Martine. So I think you did the most, Martines. You must have done at least 3 hours, right? So 3 hours for Martines. Jez did like, I don't know, 1.5 hours. Ateh did maybe like, I don't know,
Time to pause.
45 minutes.
Please stop. Close your eyes. Count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Open your eyes.
Cool. Anyways, any other last goals?
No. So I'll be working on the proposal, and I'm going to need to sit and listen to all this conversation again during this coming Sunday, so that I can better see what strategy and how I can put my best into making this a reality.
Yeah. So
Mm,
yeah, and it's a really difficult conversation, but trust me, I've thought about it a lot. And we do have a plan for dealing with all of this. The problem is that my plan is in my perspective. It's from the first world perspective going into the third world. And your plan is more important because your plan is actually, well, I mean, realistically, you're in the middle. And I know it might sound strange, but Lagos, Nigeria, $1,000 per month for individual jurisdiction is in the middle of the global jurisdictional models, right? I'm towards
yeah.
the top, and Ali is towards the bottom, right? So there are people who are making less than $300 a month easily, right? So there's jurisdictions even lower than Ali that go down to even $200, even $100 a month. But the point is that um, this is extremely, extremely important. I'm glad that we're addressing this. And I think by addressing it, we will actually make a lot more progress than if we don't address it, right? Um, and that this actually could solve a lot of our other problems that we're having in the co-op because this is a missing component. We know this has always been an issue. It's always been part of the core structures. We just never did it because it's additional work. But it's not really that much more additional work. But at the same time, it requires people from the third world to take ownership. So I basically force ownership on people, and it's like you're an owner if you want to be involved, period. And then everyone is kind of like, oh, well, I don't even know what ownership is. Like, what is this stuff? So by stepping up and building this fork and building a whole new value structure requires stepping up into that ownership role and realizing that you own something that I don't and that I will never own because I'm in a jurisdiction that is higher that you legally, well, like you have a right.
Time to stretch. Please stop, stand up, and stretch and move around for 30 seconds.
So in our model, you have a right to own some of the first world jurisdiction, but I don't have a right to own some of your middle jurisdiction, right? Because you're in the middle level, and you don't have a right to own Ali's jurisdiction because Ali's lower than you, right? So basically that is the model that we have, and what you're talking about is creating like a fundamental base jurisdiction that ensures that the people who are in most in need have direct power. So we would want Ali or other people to step up that are in lower jurisdictions than even you. But if no one's willing to step up from those jurisdictions and you're the only one willing to step up, in my perspective, the fork is building the middle jurisdiction ground of the $1,000 because that's who is stepping up into that ownership role. And then if we can find people to step up in lower roles, that's great. But you are building something even more empowering and different, which is that the jurisdictions are irrelevant and that we're creating a single global, everyone gets equal pay for equal time, or no, for unequal time. So that is potentially even more powerful because I would never even be doing that at all. So anyways, let's just go with it, see how it goes. I don't see any reason why it would be a bad thing. I feel like it's a mixed bag, right? You have both good and bad with it. Because there's certain things that go against what I'm doing. There's certain things that are in alignment with what the work that I've been working on, and then there's other things that I just never even thought about it before. So it's all three of them. So anyways, we'll just see how this evolves, but it is going to take time to get it set up and start working on it. And certain things, just like Co-op 2.0, could take years, and other things we might be able to do in just a few weeks or months. You know. So just little by little, we can start building the fork. We're gonna start a new Discord, right? So there's going to be a fourth Discord as well. But so if you want to set that up, you can. Otherwise, I can help you set it up, but there's no hurry. So for now, we'll just use SFC and FQN and Unity and everything. All right. So I will talk to you soon. Also, we have the other proposals that we're going to want to oversee. That maybe you could even put those proposals into the voting form, and that's the proposal on there is a proposal on the 3 months, right? So, whoops, this is a mistake. That's supposed to go into decisions. Decisions. There.
Which server?
Oh, I'm just gonna read it to you. It's in SFC, but
Pause. Please stop. Close your eyes. Count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Open your eyes.
So there's one proposal to slow down and cancel the base budget, and there's another proposal to require the rankings, and that to tell everybody that only we can only have one worker per group. So there'd be one worker within the NWG, one worker whoever's ranked highest within DWC, and one worker whoever's ranked highest within SFC, and that would be it. And so we would just have one new recruit. Sorry, not one worker, one new recruit. So we'd only have to train one person, 3 people at a time. Okay?
Okay.
And then everyone else can watch the training videos and get back to us.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's the proposal, is to only train 3 people at a time and to wait on everybody else. Cool. I'll talk to you later. Good work. You take care.
Thank you.
All right.
Yeah, bye.
All right. Ciao.